Hi, I'm Steve. Well, I'm 43 years old. Basically, we've been living in Dorchester. We moved down to Dorchester in 2012. We came from Leicester. We felt God had called us down into Dorset a few years before 2012. We were on holiday here, and God spoke to me through a dream. We were on holiday, and I went up. I couldn't get sleep, and I said to God, if it's right, then this will be there in the morning. And lo and behold, it was. And we prayed with our church pastors back in Leicester. Nothing came about, and then all of a sudden, 3 years later, the job interview came up for me down in the fire service. I used to work in the Leicestershire Fire and Rescue Service in the IT department, and then a job came up in the IT department down in Dorset Fire and Rescue Service, which was really strange because nothing like that had ever come up before. And long story short, within 1 month we were down here. So it was God moved very, very quickly when he did move, and it was quite an interesting time. We lived through a lot of answered prayer. We met the church, Dorchester Baptist Church. We parked up after we'd found somewhere to stay, and we parked across the top of town, and we walked across the road and saw Dorchester Baptist Church. And I asked Jane to just check the time, so we were going to pop over. And then we met Beryl and Anthony. And Beryl and Anthony also came from Leicester. And also, 18 years ago, she was a teacher at my boys' school, which was then my boys' school. And we just went, that's too much of a coincidence. That's very much a God sort of thing. And this is the church where we're going to be. And we have been here ever since. What I enjoy doing my time is gaming. I'm a big gamer. I play a lot of PC games with my friend Nick, who's a really good friend. I met him here. He used to be my engineer when I worked in the schools, and we've become very, very close friends. I also play a lot of tabletop gaming as well. Gets us out and about and socialising. Meeting new people, having a good laugh with people. I love watching films, movies, action movies. I'm very much an action movie sort of person, sci-fi. I'm very much into lots of science fiction sort of stuff as well. Well, my journey to being a Christian, I grew up in a very Christian family. We were in different churches as we grew up. I became a Christian when I was about 9 years old, and had a lot of things happen to us as a family. I fell away from God when I was about 15. Lots of serious things happened in our family. I lost a sister to cancer. My dad split with my mum. Huge divorce problems. I didn't do school very well up until I ended up back into college when I was 20. And from there, I got back into youth work and going into youth teams again. And I got back into the faith through that. I did a year on PACE, the PACE project, which is much bigger than it was when I did it. We spent a year in Manchester going into schools and clubs and things like that and doing youth work and spreading the gospel that way. I came back to Leicester, where I was living then, and was asked to take part in the youth work there, and I did that where I met Jane, and myself and Jane took that up as a newlywed couple, and then when we had our first son, Joseph, I then carried it on for a good number of years before we left to come here. COVID-19 has affected me quite severely over the since March. I've been working at home. I work shifts at the moment, so I work 4 on, 4 off. I work nights and days, and so 12-hour shifts, and it's got really stressful at some points, and it's also not helped with me having previous depression, I became very isolated a couple of years ago, and I went into a bout of depression. Long story short, again, I came through that, but with being isolated at home, it's been really difficult to keep myself going. But I've had the good support of family and friends, and I'm still working from home. We are looking to go back to our workplace, but we don't know exactly when that will be. My favourite scripture, and the scripture I've always had, was from Proverbs 3 verse 5, which is trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he will guide your paths. That has been so poignant for me through my last 2.5 years at least with depression, because I've had to trust God. I've had no other way of doing it, because it's a way of life that's really difficult, and your mental health goes in a place where you don't want it to go. But it didn't stop me being a Christian. I had the loving support of friends, family, and that scripture always comes back to me as a person, and it always will do. I just want to say thanks to the church for letting me do this video, being honest and open. It took me a long time to get back to coming back to church. Through the depression, I had a lot of support, and it's just been nice to actually share a bit about myself in where I've got to and where I am.